Welcome back, YouTube. So I want you to do an update on the price action because what we're seeing here is strong evidence of a reversal forming, and this is why I used the analogy when I was talking about the previous trend and saying that the further we go down, if you're able to catch it below 18, typically that's going to be, not want to use the word guaranteed profit, but it's kind of locked in, like it springs back up or it bounces back, or like a rubber band. I used the analogy when you pull it back, it just goes to equilibrium relatively quickly. And normally you see, when it does reverse, normally you see a rather large candle that makes up that ground quickly because it's being priced in that the asset is in fact worth more than what the market is currently seeing. And we talked about that last night on the live and in previous videos about how longs are piling into the coin. Like we're getting ready to hit around 18, 19 cent. We're closing in on 19 cent again here. So typically the lower you go down, the more pressure that you're going to have built up to spring back up to what the market believes is fair value at that time. And if you don't like the rubber band analogy, just think about it as a spring. The further you push it down, the more pressure you're going to put on it. But what happens when you take that pressure off, the more violent it springs back up. Same thing here. And this is the previous trend that I used for an example when we had the engulfing candle. That's what this is right here. This is an engulfing candle that we have here. That's literally probably, if it repeats this cycle, that means that today we'll close at around 20 cent if it does what it did, if it repeats what happened last time. So this is here was the downtrend, and we broke the 15 support. And then when that reversal happened, we had the engulfing candle where we almost made up, well, relatively close to making up 2 days of 2 red days in a single day. So we had that rather large candle. And what did that do? That triggered the next leg, right? That triggered the next run up to that retest to that test around 22 cent. So this could very well be the next beginning of the next leg here before we go up and retest that 22. But the thing about it is, the thing that I like is that we are relatively close to the 22 mark. So it's not like we gave up a lot of the momentum here and had to go down to like 15 or something like that and to come retest. So obviously we'll see where this candle closes. That's why I said it's loading. This isn't confirmed just yet, but this is what the trend is giving us so far on the daily. So if you wanted to know my ranges for this consolidation or this pre-halving sell-off, shall I say, I'm going to take a look at Bitcoin here. I should kind of point this on the chart. So Bitcoin obviously is rallying here, and before I get into that, I want to put the theory that I had out there. I know historically I was saying that it wouldn't be abnormal if we came down to around 58,000 pre-halving, but I felt like it would be very unlikely, right? That would happen just because of the amount of people that are investing in crypto and the amount of new wallets that are being added. Because right now you have FOMO and people missing out, people fear of missing out because they don't necessarily believe that it's going to go to 12 cents. Typically the people that for like Bitcoin saying they want it to go to 58,000 or for Doge saying it's going to go to 12 cents are the people that have much lower averages. So if you have a much lower average, then you're going to be rooting for it to go down there where your lower average is. But we have to keep in mind that these coins are growing right now. We're in a bull market. So there are people who are perfectly fine with buying at 18 cent or 60K, right? And so they're going to be like, hey, look, I need to get in on this now because I don't have what I believe to be a decent position in these coins. So I'm going to buy now. And so that can kind of pump the brakes on a lot of these sell-offs here. So we may not get some of those historical sell-offs pre-halving. Now, obviously, we still have a few weeks until pre-halving. So I'm not saying that this is the bottom for the pre-halving sell-off, but I'm just putting that out there, something for you to consider when you are looking at these charts and looking at price action and kind of keeping notes if you are thinking about making an additional entry prior to having. Just kind of this is something for you to consider, right? I think that matters. The amount of people that are in the coins, and like for Dogecoin example, we've added over 1 million wallets in the last few months. I think that makes a big difference if you have a fresh amount of people, like 1 million people saying that, hey, we want to buy X amount of coins or something like that. If you have 1 million people and they say, hey, we're going to, I don't know, invest $100, for example, right, with 1 million people. Well, you're talking about 100 million. So it's like, okay, well, not necessarily in the grand scheme of the token may not be a lot, but it's certainly enough to trigger especially on a daily, on a small scale, is certainly enough to trigger some brakes being pumped, and you may have that FOMO, like, okay, well, this is it, and this is probably what we're witnessing right now on the charts is the FOMO saying, okay, well, this could be the bottom. We don't necessarily think that we're going to break down, and people are going to start piling into the coin. So Bitcoin or a Doge. So that's something to consider here. If you're looking at price action, this is something we talked about last night on the live. I think this matters long and shorts, is because if you're looking here, we're talking about 75 roughly to 25 long, right? So right now it's like 72.27. Obviously, this updates on the 5:30, 1 hour, 4-day, and the 1 day. So obviously, as those time intervals happen, it updates. But we're talking about a market where even when we had 3 red days, longs are the primary ones liquidating, but they're also the primary ones taking position. So this is what's known as a swap. So we're not seeing evidence behind the scenes, where at least a lot of the big money is being bet that the asset is going to go down. So this is one of the things that you can use to kind of have confidence, say, hey, the market is pricing in higher Dogecoin. So, and I think that, this typically leads the actual price action. You have lagging indicators, and you have indicators that kind of lead the actual price action. So this is one of the ones that leads the price action versus something like a moving average, or something that's a little bit of a lagging indicator, depending on the time frame. So it can certainly give you an idea of what's going forward here. Open interest on the day is up, right? 3.87%. We see Binance obviously leading as the largest exchange, a little over $500 million coming into Binance for Dogecoin. So we'll see what happens here overall as far as for price points. So yeah, definitely up about 700 million over open interest overall from like the previous day. So inching toward $1 billion. As far as for regaining that billion, because I think we peaked that around like 2.2 billion or something like that. So we'll keep an eye on the overall open interest, but the long swapped. So that wasn't them running out of the coin because they believe we were peak bull market, and that's something I covered last night as well. I'm not going to say, well, I guess I'll say it's ignorant based off of charts and history to assume that, especially a top 10 coin, has peaked prior to having, right? Typically, not even typically, 100% of the time thus far, I'll say that 100% of the time thus far, none of the coins peaked prior to having. So you have to, it'll be wise to consider that in your analysis if you're looking, saying, hey, these coins are over and stuff like that. I know I have some bears on my pages, and I know I have some shorters on my pages, and every time it goes down, it's going to 10 cents, it's over. I told you, like, I know that happens, but this isn't going to be just a highway to heaven or something like that. We're trying to take the stairs, and there's going to be ups and downs, but the trend overall is saying up. Especially right now, we're seeing the evidence in the charts here. So another indicator we can look at is going to be the shorts, and we can take a look here. Let me go back. Take a look here, because I know Bitcoin shorts were like going through the roof the other day. So we'll see if they're running out or if they're holding position. That can kind of give us an idea of how they feel. Yeah, Doge shorts are still trending down. They're coming out. They're not increasing their position. Doge shorts don't even believe. And so this is one of the things that you have to kind of get information to kind of back up how you feel about an asset, because people are saying that they see red candles and they're like, oh my God, it's gonna go down to 10 cent, 12 cent. And the longs don't believe that it's going down. They're taking positions. And even the people who make money on the coin going down, they are not confident that it's going to go down. They have not been confident that it's going to go down, and they've been lowering their positions for days. So you're putting yourself through something emotionally that the people whose job it is to profit off of the coin coming down, they're saying something different from you, right? So just kind of take the information. That's why I'm very happy about putting this information out on the channel and stuff, so that you guys can have actual information for those of you who may not be very good at reading charts and have access to some of the programs, or don't know how to interpret it very well. I like putting this information out there because you could be very well putting yourself through unnecessary emotional trauma, right? And I'm not saying that anything is guaranteed, but what I'm saying is, if you feel that way we have three sources of evidence that the market disagrees with your position, right? To kind of get quality information and properly analyze it and compile that with your thoughts to make sure that, hey, you're feeling the right way and making the best decisions. Because ultimately, if you are not interpreting the information correctly, you're probably not going to make the right decision at that time, or at least the best decision for you. So it can kind of mess up your portfolio or not have you as in strong a position as you could have been if you had the right information, right? So let's take a look here to see if the Bitcoin shorts have changed their minds. I imagine, yep. Bitcoin shorts are like, okay, we're out. See, nobody likes getting bent over. It's not a matter of Dogecoin shorts. It's shorts in general. When you have price action that goes against you, you can't be stubborn like that, because you're going to have to close that position at some point, right? So a short is basically like the opposite of like a future almost, right? You're a guaranteed buyer at some point. So, and when you don't want to be on the wrong side of that freight train, so now you have the shorts literally running for the hills, down 27% so far on the day, and getting ready to close below the 200-day, right? So, and this is kind of what we were talking about as far as the price action. So now you not only see it outside of Dogecoin, but you're seeing it on a macro level for like the top 10, where the currencies are saying, hey, we're about to have a rally. Now, how much of a rally? We don't know, but we have that range here, especially for Doge. Like I was saying, if we close above, right now the range is 22. On the positive side, the range is 18 to 22. On the retractive side, we can say 18 to 15, right? It's going to be the range here. So right here, the consolidated range 18 to 22. We close above 22. That opens up that window to around the 30-cent range. This is not this. We had two tests before here, before this broke. So I don't necessarily believe that we're going to have to test this 3 or 4 times. I'd be shocked if we did. But the next time we test the 22, we should run based off of history. So we should run. We should be able to break it right above that and run after that to around that 30-cent range. So on the downside here, obviously 18 to 15. So not that big of a deal. But if you're able to catch it below 18, that is in the money. Because all the people that were down here at 17, if you were able to catch it, if you were watching the videos and you were able to catch it at 17, you're happy right now. So if you're able to catch it, just certainly consider it, right? Not financial advice, but certainly consider it, because typically it's the easiest and the fastest way to make money. So looking here overall on the current trend here, we're seeing the bowl being formed. And obviously this is mirroring almost perfectly. Even BNB, Solana, XRP, Doge. Again, if you watched the video last night, you'll know that this is all just massive portfolio sheets rebalancing, right? This is over $1 billion increase since our video about 12 hours ago, 12, 13, I'll say about 14 hours ago. Because this was at around 25 billion, and now we've got another $1 billion in Dogecoin. So if you can believe that retail did it, maybe if you want, but right now we're looking at 2.2 billion into 2.2 billion into Doge in the last 24 hours. And look at Cardano. Oh my God, only 476 million in transactions for Cardano. This is interesting. This is certainly interesting here. If Cardano doesn't pick up the pace here, we may see Cardano getting ready to drop even lower in the top 10, maybe even being number 10. This is very interesting. Avalanche is certainly having volume here. They're not too far behind. So it's only about 3 billion. So we'll see, right? If they start being close in volume, and because it's having a better day, it's having a better recovery too, across the board on the 1 hour and the 24. It's having a better recovery. So there's something to kind of keep an eye on here. But we are doing absolutely phenomenal. This is great, even because even our transactional volume is actually higher than the number 6 coin, which is what is this? XRP, right? So we are doing great. I think our transactional volume is almost higher than the number 4 coin, BNB. So volume wise, we're fine. Cardano's probably in trouble, so we'll keep an eye on that. But volume wise, we are fine. This is going really great as far as for the asset. So just keep in mind, we are certainly threatening a reversal here. I'll report back later today with that information. I believe that we're going to have an engulfing candle, and we may have a retest of the 22 cents soon. So hopefully that's provided you some value with some insight as far as what's going on today. If you found value in the channel, we are, matter of fact, last I checked, we are 3 subscribers away from 75,000. If you have not subscribed, please consider doing so. We're going to hit 100,000 subscribers this year, and I would like to do it, if possible, before Bitcoin hits $100,000. So that way we can make history right up alongside Dogecoin. So I think that'll be great for the channel. And obviously, that's going to be great for Doge breaking records this year as well. And in addition to the record that's already broken. So if you can help out with that, certainly consider doing so. If you have any questions, leave them in the comment section. I'll get to as many of you as possible. And I will see you guys in the next video.